Ole Miss is 5-1. They beat Arkansas 27-20. In my SEC power rankings, I have Ole Miss 4. I could, either way there. I got Georgia 1. Ain't no doubt about that. They let everybody know the last 2 weeks that maybe they were sleepwalking the first few weeks. They let people know against Auburn and Kentucky. Georgia 1, Bama 2, A&M 3. I think that's pretty obvious. After that, there's a jumbled up group, but I'm going to go Ole Miss 4 for now. We want to welcome in Jake Thompson on 3 Sports, the Ole Miss Spirit. Jake, what grade would you give Ole Miss for the win over Kentucky?
Arkansas.
My bad, Arkansas. I'm looking at Georgia, Kentucky right now.
I was thinking what timeline we just stepped in there. I was I'd give it a B plus. I mean, I think just because the defense kind of answered the call and 20 points for Arkansas, in that game is probably a success given what we've seen Arkansas put up. More importantly, KJ Jefferson put up the past 2 years when those two teams have played. The 51 points could have easily been 53 if that 2-point attempt pass was a little bit lower. And then what they always do in Fayetteville, it's so the fact this was kind of a low scoring game, I'd call that a success overall for Ole Miss. Now the offense, I think once we all learned that Dart got banged up on the second play of the game and was kind of playing hurt or just kind of going through something. The fact that they were managed to never let it slip away, and be as stagnant as they actually ended up being at times, I call that a success also given all things involved.
Okay, so you got a B plus. What about Bentley? He looks like the best, most explosive back on the team. What'd you say?
Yeah, it's probably just a combination of motivation of being fully healthy after he dealt with, he was banged up a lot too, just like Zach Evans, but we talked more about Evans and Judkins than we really did Bentley because he kind of got hurt early on in the season. But he's been full go this year, and whatever opportunity they give him, he seems to be running at 1,000 RPM and has looked great on the past 2 weeks on some touchdown runs. And just when he gets that open space, he kicks another motor. And to me, he has looked faster than Judkins. Now I don't know if that was the case of Judkins just being hurt early in the season or those for a couple games and he's getting back. But right now, Bentley is almost kind of a 1B to 1A, if not kind of fighting to get many snaps as Judkins gets as a starter.
Do you think this is a team that can win the SEC West, Jake?
If they can play inspired football the rest of the year, I'd say yes. But it's just there's so little room for margin of error, and with the West, because you get that one loss to Alabama, and same for A&M or anybody else. That's like you need to make up 3 wins to make that up. I mean, that's how it kind of feels, and they have a chance to at least I think finish second, but they've got to root for I guess LSU to become the LSU the past few years, not the one we've kind of seen struggling with against Missouri or even Ole Miss last week, and then I guess Tennessee in a couple weeks because you got to get those 2 losses. So there's a chance Ole Miss has to do its part. And I think November 11th is probably a big roadblock in Athens for that to happen. But the rest of their schedule, just looking at how things have stacked up and how Ole Miss has pulled out these past 2 wins differently, I mean, there's a chance they could have a very solid second half of the season. But I just think that also Tuscaloosa and what they got to do in Athens is probably going to keep them from getting a shot to get to Atlanta, just from my perspective on October 9th here.
What's your board like, the Ole Miss Spirit? People believing that this is an SEC West team?
Yeah, they've liked what they've seen. Obviously, they got that win against LSU in that shootout and had things feeling good. And then it's been all positive since the win on Saturday. And, everybody's kind of liking what they're seeing. Of course, they were this good, I think undefeated, honestly, at this point last year. But those wins weren't the same kind of wins as what they've gotten at this point this year. So they feel that Kiffin's kind of got this team proving maybe stuff that they haven't proven in a while, or even under Kiffin. I wouldn't call Arkansas a signature win, but it's an SEC West win against a team that's been pesky to them historically in recent years. So, the fact they're sitting 2-1, 5-1, I think anybody would have signed up for that. And during fall camp, you said, all right, they're going to be 5-1 at the break. one of those losses will be what they are, but that means you get 2 wins over either Alabama, LSU, or Arkansas. I think a lot of people would have signed up for that.
Yeah, I agree. Jake Thompson on 3 Sports, the Ole Miss Spirit. He joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. What did Jackson Dart do early in the game? What kind of,
I tried to go back and look. They didn't tell us, and Dart just gave us a real quick, I'll be good, kind of a smirk. That him, was fine. And last night when we talked to Kiffin again, he said both Dart and Trey Harris will be good, should be good. Come Auburn at the bye week now kind of comes at a good time. He was kind of not wanting to, because he felt, obviously any coach that gets 2 big wins in a row is going to want to keep going. Those coaches who believe in that momentum stagnating at a bye week. But I think now 24 hours or so later, Kiffin's happy that bye week's there because you get Dart healthy. You can get Trey Harris healthy. He told us it was a lower body injury. I don't know what that was, but it kind of caught, or when it happened, but I did notice towards the end of the game, Harris was out, and he had about 15 snaps less than Watkins and all the other, usual starters. So it must have taken place sometime late in the game. But both, I don't know what Dart did. I thought it was on a run where he was trying to jump, and the Arkansas defender kind of snagged his foot at the last minute. But it must have been earlier than that. But what it is, I'm not sure. But what we're told is they'll both be fine come October 21st.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Ole Miss with the week off before they go to You think that's going to be a heck of a ball game down on the Plains?
I think it'll be just a weird game because of all this off the field stuff and how these 2 teams are connected with what happened at the end of last year. But I think it comes down to what happens in Baton Rouge this weekend for Auburn. I mean, that's a tough ask against an LSU team that I'm sure is still playing angry, still playing mad, trying to play motivated, and I'm sure Kelly's going to have them going. But if you're an Ole Miss fan, you kind of want LSU to, beat the spirit out of them, so to speak, kind of nail them down, because I'm sure Freeze obviously is going to have them up for that game next week. The speeches will be what they are. Freeze has been good at that, getting teams up for those kind of games. That it's going to be a big-time environment. I think also what will maybe play a factor is, and we'll find out in a little bit, is what time that kickoff is. In my head, I could see it at any time slot throughout that day, and they'd all make sense. So I think also time of kickoff may play a factor in how that game goes.
Yeah, that's right. Boy, the storylines for days, right? Hugh Freeze having coached at Ole Miss. Lane, was in the mix, but they decided to go with Hugh. And, yeah, that's going to be delicious. No doubt about it. Well, 5-1. What any other significant injuries or that the listeners need to know about?
No, none that we saw. There were some concerns for guys from last week, but they all played and didn't look to get any more banged up this week and play the whole game. And so I guess if they can get Dart and Harris healthy, and looks like they're slowly getting their running game going, and the offense should be healthy, and we haven't been told of any major defensive ones. So, for any team 6 weeks in, I think you're as close to 100% as you could expect in this sport. All
right. Well, we'll do it again next week. Jake Thompson on 3 Sports, the Ole Miss Spirit. Ole Miss with a 27-20 win over Arkansas, and they're 5-1. They'll take the week off before going and taking on Hugh Freeze. Isn't that going to be crazy to see Freeze on the opposite sideline against Ole Miss? It's going to be wild down on the Plains in a couple weeks. And Jake's right. We get to know the time in a couple hours, so I'm looking forward to that. Jake, be good. You going to take the week off? And
I am. I'm hoping to kind of disappear towards the end of the week for a few days, and then get some rest, because I know what next week's going to bring for the media. That's going to be a crazy week leading up to that Saturday.
Are you going to go to that game?
I am. I'm excited for that game.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, enjoy your weekend off. Be good.
I appreciate it. Y'all have a good day.
Jake Thompson on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Ole Miss 5-1. Look, Ulysses Bentley the fourth. He looks really, really good. That could be the piece that Kiffin needs to have a really good year. Jason's calling his shot. He believes that Ole Miss will end up in Atlanta. Now, one of the listeners who's an Ole Miss fan said, no, we don't want to do that. We just want to go 11-1 and not go to Atlanta. We want to go 11-1, not go to Atlanta, and maybe, I guess he's thinking, get into the college football playoff. SEC Insider Hit coming up next. Some of you are upset with my power rankings, and I love it. And I love you. Good morning. Welcome in on a Meltdown Monday.